Order in the court. We will now proceed with the testimony of Mr. Keanu Reeves. Mr. Reeves, please state your name and occupation for the record.
My name is Keanu Charles Reeves. I'm an actor, producer, and musician.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. You've been sworn in. The AUSA may begin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Reeves, can you please tell the court how you first came into contact with the defendant, Mr. Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy?
Yeah, sure. It was about 3 years ago in 2022. I was working on a project, a film with a heavy music component. I'd been playing bass with my band, Dogstar, for years, and I wanted to bring some authenticity to the soundtrack. Someone in my circle, a mutual acquaintance, suggested I meet Sean. They said he was a visionary, someone who could help bridge the gap between Hollywood and the music industry. I trusted their judgment, so I agreed to a meeting.
And where did this meeting take place?
At his studio in Los Angeles. It was one of those sleek high-tech places, glass walls, platinum records everywhere, you know? He was charismatic, full of energy. He had this way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room.
Can you describe the nature of the conversation during this first meeting?
It started off great. We talked about music, art, the creative process. I mentioned my band and how I wanted to explore producing music for the film. Sean, Mr. Combs, said he could open doors for me. He talked about his connections, his label, Bad Boy Entertainment, and how he could get me in front of the right people. He offered to introduce me to producers, songwriters, even some big-name artists. It sounded like a dream collaboration.
Did Mr. Combs make any specific offers or proposals during this meeting?
Yeah, he did. He said he could get Dogstar a deal with his label, a real push, tour, studio time, marketing. He even suggested I could produce a solo album under his mentorship. He painted this picture of me becoming a major player in the music world, not just an actor dabbling in music. It was tempting, you know. Music's always been a passion of mine, but I've never had the industry clout to break through like that.
And how did you respond to these offers?
I was cautious. I told him I'd think about it. I mean, I'm not naive. I've been in this business a long time. I know deals like that come with strings. I asked for time to talk it over with my team, my bandmates, you know, the people I trust. He seemed fine with that at first, said he respected my process.
At first. Can you elaborate on what changed?
In his seat, his voice lowering a few weeks later, I got a call from him. He was different, pushy. He said opportunities like this don't wait, that I needed to commit or I'd be left behind. I told him I was still considering it, but I wasn't ready to sign anything. That's when things got weird.
Can you describe what you mean by weird?
He started contacting me directly, texts, calls, even showing up at places I was at. Like I'd be at a restaurant with friends and he'd just appear. Always with this big smile, acting like it was a coincidence, but it felt off. He'd bring up the deal, push me to sign, saying things like, "You don't want to miss this train, Keanu. I can make you, but I can also break you." That stuck with me.
Mr. Reeves, are you saying Mr. Combs threatened you?
Yeah, it wasn't just words, though. It was the way he said it, calm but cold, like he was stating a fact. He'd talk about how he'd seen people rise and fall in the industry and how he had the power to decide who made it. He mentioned a couple of artists, people I won't name, who he claimed he'd helped and then let go when they didn't play ball. It felt like a warning.
Objection, Your Honor. This is hearsay and speculative. Mr. Reeves is implying intent without concrete evidence.
Your Honor, Mr. Reeves is testifying to his direct experience and perception of the defendant's behavior, which is relevant to the charges of coercion and intimidation.
Overruled. Mr. Reeves, please continue, but stick to what you personally witnessed or experienced.
Right, sorry, look, I'm not here to make stuff up. I'm just telling you what happened. After that, he started sending me contracts, thick legal stuff, hundreds of pages. I had my lawyer look at them and they were predatory. Clauses that would have locked me into exclusive deals, taken a huge cut of anything I made, even outside his label. My lawyer said it was one of the worst contracts he'd ever seen.
Did you confront Mr. Combs about these contracts?
I tried. I called him, told him I wasn't comfortable with the terms. That's when he got intense. He said I was making a mistake, that I didn't understand how the game worked. He told me he'd invested time in me that I owed him. Then he said something I'll never forget. "You don't want to be on my bad side, Keanu. People who cross me don't just fade away, they disappear."
And how did you interpret disappear?
I took it as a threat, not just to my career but to me personally. I've dealt with tough people in this industry, but this was different. It wasn't just business. It felt personal, like he was trying to control me.
Did Mr. Combs take any further actions that made you feel threatened?
Yeah, a few months later I started noticing things. My band's gigs started getting canceled, venues would call last minute, saying they'd been double booked or there was some issue with the promoter. I found out later that some of these venues had ties to Sean's network. Then there was this incident.
Please describe this incident.
It was late, maybe 2 a.m., and I was leaving a recording studio in Hollywood. I'd been working on some tracks with Dogstar. As I'm walking to my car, two guys come out of nowhere. Big guys not saying much, just standing there blocking my path. One of them says, "Sean says you need to rethink your choices." Then they just walked away. I didn't have proof it was him, but I knew. It was too coincidental.
Objection, Your Honor. This is pure speculation. There's no evidence linking my client to this alleged incident.
Your Honor, Mr. Reeves is testifying to a pattern of behavior that aligns with the charges. We will present corroborating evidence later.
Sustained. Mr. Reeves, please refrain from speculating about the defendant's involvement unless you have direct evidence. Proceed, AUSA.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Reeves, how did these events affect you and your career decisions?
I've always tried to live my life with integrity, you know. I don't play games, I don't step on people to get ahead. But this, it shook me. I started second-guessing everything. I pulled back from the music project, didn't release the tracks we were working on. I didn't want to risk my bandmates, my friends, getting caught up in whatever this was. It felt like I was being hunted.
Did you report these incidents to anyone?
At first, no. I didn't want to escalate things. I thought maybe if I just backed off, it'd go away. But then I heard from others, people in the industry, artists, producers, who'd had similar experiences with him. They were scared to talk, but they told me enough. I realized this wasn't just about me, so I went to the authorities.
And what prompted you to come forward today?
Because no one should have to live in fear like that. I've been lucky I've got a platform, a voice. Most people in this situation don't. If I stay silent, he keeps doing this to others. I can't let that happen.
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Agnifilo, your cross-examination.
Mr. Reeves, let's be clear. You're a successful actor, a global star. Are you asking this court to believe that my client, a respected music mogul, would risk his reputation to intimidate you over a music deal?
I'm not asking anyone to believe anything. I'm telling you what happened. I don't know why he did it. Maybe it was control, maybe it was ego, but it happened.
You mentioned these predatory contracts. Did you ever sign any of them?
No. Like I said, my lawyer advised against it.
So no contract was executed, no money changed hands, and yet you claim my client threatened you. Isn't it possible you misunderstood his enthusiasm for a threat? He's a passionate businessman, after all.
Enthusiasm doesn't involve sending people to intimidate someone in a parking lot at 2 a.m. Enthusiasm doesn't involve telling someone they'll disappear if they don't sign a contract.
You admit you have no proof these individuals were connected to my client. Isn't it possible this was a random encounter, unrelated to Mr. Combs?
Possible? Sure. Likely. No, it was too specific, too timed with everything else going on.
Mr. Reeves, you're a public figure. You've admitted you've had a long career in a cutthroat industry. Isn't it possible you've made enemies, people who might want to scare you for reasons unrelated to my client?
I don't make enemies, Mr. Agnifilo. I try to treat people with respect, and no one else was pushing me into a deal like that. No one else was showing up at my gigs, my dinners, my life with that kind of pressure.
You're a beloved figure, Mr. Reeves. The internet's boyfriend, they call you. Isn't it possible you're leveraging your reputation to paint my client as a villain for your own gain, maybe to boost your music career?
I don't need to boost my career by tearing someone else down. I'm here because what he did was wrong. I'm here for the people who don't have a voice, who can't stand up to someone like him. That's it.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. You may step down. To the AUSA, do you have any further witnesses?
Not at this time, Your Honor, but we reserve the right to recall Mr. Reeves.
Very well. Court is adjourned until tomorrow at 9.